Hello everyone. Imagine there was no astronauts in space. And imagine humanity didn't make it to the moon. These are scenarios that are actually quite likely now for Europe to happen, and that's what we want to change with the exploration company back here in Europe. What do we see happening actually? There's a space renaissance happening in the space tech. We hear also deep tech renaissance, and this is actually also happening here in the space environment. What exactly does it mean? You probably have seen the big players in the US, SpaceX and others, that are building huge, large, affordable rockets. And this technology, this new technology is actually creating a turning point, making space exploration accessible. It's not just these huge vehicles, but they also can be reused, they come back, they can be refilled, so you can actually use this vehicle for multiple purposes. And what does it actually now enable? It enables to actually create not just one space station that we all know, the International Space Station, but there's currently 10 stations planned to put into the low Earth orbit and around the moon. And if you look at the flags that I point here, Europe is hardly represented here. There's the International Space Station, which is going to be deorbiting in 2030, and there's the Lunar Gateway, but the Lunar Gateway is currently put with a huge question mark based on the fact that NASA budget was cut, which was recently just announced. So we see here the big dependency that we have in Europe with our partners in the US. And the big stations that are going to come is Axiom, Orbital Reef, VAST with its Haven, and Starlab. So main US players that are going into this market. India and Japan, they're also driving, and they're also quick enabling this access into the space sector. And what do we see? Every station in the end has an average mission per year of 10 resupply missions. So with every other mission that's going to come, this is going to multiply per station. We don't believe that every station is going to make it, so don't get me wrong. But with every other mission that's going to come and every other station, there will be much more missions, resupply missions that are going to be served. And this market is going to grow drastically. This is actually a conservative number. You heard probably about trillions of dollars. We believe that within the next 10 years, it's going to multiply by 10 from $5 billion to $50 billion within the next 10 years. And 70% of this market is actually going into the logistics. It's going into the space transportation. So either to provide cargo into orbit or to fly humans into orbit. So look at SpaceX, for example. They take at the moment the majority of this amount of this business. And the issue that we have, the problem, there's a shortage of affordable and reliable space vehicles existing. The ones that we all know that do exist as of today, and there are some, there are Chinese, there's a Russian, there's also US. And for us, again, Europeans, there is no vehicle existing that we can use for ourselves. Of course, we are dependent and we can use the US one, but you see what's currently happening in the geopolitical environment. And the other issue that is happening is, today we have 2 barter agreements existing so that we can bring our astronauts into orbit, into space. And I think not that many people know how this actually works. So we actually take the European taxpayers' money through a European Space Agency. We built in Europe the Columbus module for the International Space Station, and we provide it for free to NASA. And in return, we get free tickets for our astronauts. With the deorbiting of the ISS and the commercialization of the low Earth orbit, they want, of course, to make money. Axiom, VAST, these are commercial players, so they don't care about the Columbus module that doesn't even exist there. So in the end, Europe needs to pay €500 million per year to the US to actually send its astronauts into orbit. And this is really crazy. If you think about 10 years, it's €5 billion that we have to pay cash, European taxpayers' money that goes to the US, and 70% go actually directly into the pocket of SpaceX. And we want to change that. We have been inspired by Orion. Europe is working on Orion, building the European service module, and our co-founding team, they actually were the program management team at Airbus developing this European service module. And that's how we created our own spacecraft called Nix. And we are not reinventing here the wheel. You see, it's a capsule, you have a service module, it's a classical design of a spacecraft. The thing that makes it different is we want to make it accessible. We qualified it for 3 different launches. We launched last year with Ariane 6. We're going to launch this year with SpaceX, actually in a month. And the next one that we qualified it for is with GSLV, which is an Indian launch provider. We make it sustainable by reusing the capsule for up to 10 missions, and scalable because we can use also the same vehicle with additional engines to go to the moon. So we can on the one hand dock to space stations, we can act as a free flyer in orbit for several weeks, and of course we bring the whole thing back down. So there's two options that we can serve, and in Bavaria I always tell it's like a car. You have like an AMG version of your normal car, of your C-Class. So Nix Earth is actually flying around Earth, and the AMG version has 3 engines that actually allows us to go to the moon and fly back. So in the end, we're acting kind of a DHL service in space, connecting the moon with the low Earth orbit stations and with Earth. And what we sell it for is 150 million euros. So it's also transparent pricing. And it includes the launch, it includes the docking, the power, the communication, the re-entering, and also refurbishment. And what we want to achieve is, we want to be as quick as possible and looking to our main competitor and to our inspirator SpaceX with the Dragon capsule. They developed it actually within 6.5 years and flew after the end of the 6th year and had 1 demonstration flight. We have 2 demonstrators, one that launched last year, it's called Mission Bikini, a second one that's going to launch next month with customer payloads called Mission Possible, that allows us to reduce the technical risk to actually launch the vehicle, the big one, end of 2028. Mission Bikini, at the time we were 9 people in the company. Within 9 months we have gone from sketch that you can see on the left side in January until qualification and ready for flight, because at the time Ariane 6 was scheduled for December 2022. And here it's about re-entering. So we have no propulsion system on board, there's no payloads on board. This is really technology that we developed, onboard computer, some communication satellite terminals, and some sensors. And you can very nicely see on these pictures the integration of the vehicle into the upper stage of Ariane 6 last year in June. And then this very nice picture on the bottom left where our little capsule is on the upper stage. It's still orbiting because there was an anomaly of the upper stage, so we're still in space until 2049 and just coming back with the natural re-entry. Mission Possible is different because here we have a propulsion system on board, so here we can actually control the re-entry. We're not that much depending on the launcher on the upper stage. And here we developed within 2 years the full spacecraft. It costed us around 30 million euros, including the launch, to develop this vehicle. And here you can see a very beautiful spacecraft. It's a capsule that actually hosts 300 kilograms of customer payloads. It's 26 different customers that we host here, from the classical space agencies, from space companies, from space startups all around the world, but also non-space companies. We have a big European cosmetics brand sending 50 hair samples to actually do product development for shampoo and using this crystallization effect for the product. And yeah, just last week, the picture on the bottom left, we packed everything, and today it arrived in Vandenberg at the launch site in California. So we're really about to launch the thing in 1 month, so keep your eyes on this one. Nix Earth, this is the one that we want to fly to the ISS and to do the first docking mission. And here we have just finished a preliminary design review, and we're going to do the safety review with NASA, which is the certification of the vehicle. So you have to imagine it's kind of a driving license that you need to acquire. You're not allowed just to go and build a vehicle and go to the ISS. We really have to certify that this vehicle can do it. And so we have to go through 3 theoretical exams, which are the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 safety reviews. And the practical exam will actually happen right on the date in August 28, before we're actually going to do the docking to the ISS. We will receive the first parts of our structure in July, and we're going to do a structure model test end of this year. And the integration of the vehicle will start next year. Nix Moon, it's not just an idea, it's not just a rendering. We actually work on the engines already, and we're going to qualify these engines by end of this year, allowing us then to make the upgrade from Nix Earth to go to Nix Moon. The idea is also to land on the lunar surface, which is very difficult. I mean, we have seen 95% of the first trials failed, and so we're also quite humble and believe that this also might fail. So we want to prepare and perform like a demonstration mission here on Earth. We work very closely with the UAE Space Agency in Dubai because they're interested in this lunar landing, and we would like to create this collaboration between Europe and the UAE to make this actually happen. And once we have shown in 28 to go to the low Earth orbit with our Nix Earth, we can easily go from the same capsule, the service module with the engines, to the Nix Moon capsule and actually test it in 29, 2030. And here's a video of the engine. I hope it works. Yes. So what you hear is 15 kilonewton thrust. And it's really cool. This is really cool, and I show you this because we developed this within 1.5 years. We're using here liquid oxygen methane as a propellant, which is a so-called green propellant, which is also new and state-of-the-art because we're not using hydrogen, which is very toxic for environment, for people, difficult to store. So we're using here methane, a greenhouse gas, as a propellant. And on the other hand, we're actually printing these engines in-house, so it's a fully 3D additive manufactured engine that we develop. And you see it already works. The qualification will be done this year. And what we do in-house is we take care about the thermal protection, we do take care about the docking, the GNC, the so-called autopilot, the flight software to act in space. We built also the avionics, so the onboard computer, the payload interface unit, the propulsion system, as you have very nicely seen, and also the digital twin. We take care, we have a software development team in-house that takes care that all these different tools that we're using for logistics, for procurement, for the design, that everything is integrated so that we have actually reduced effort in all the technical documentation. In terms of customer traction, we were able to sell Mission Possible, the one that's going to launch in June, to 26 different customers within 9 months. We started the sales at 1,500 euro per kilogram and then ended up in 25,000 euro per kilogram, which is the standard pricing for Nix Earth. A big honor for us was to be selected as number 1 in the ESA contract, which is called the LEO Cargo Return Service, ahead of Thales and Airbus, which are actually the incumbents here in Europe. We were able to sell 5 missions to commercial space stations. Axiom Space bought 1, Starlab bought 3, VAST bought 1, overall 600 million euros of contracts that we have signed there. We just recently signed a big contract with the German Space Agency that's flying scientific experiments, and they booked 160 kilograms to fly on this maiden flight in 2028. And we also signed a lot of letters of intents from customers on different sectors, from space, but also non-space, for experiments, for product development, for technology demonstration, over 300 million euros that we have now to work off. So who are we? We are the exploration company, and we have been founded in July 2021. So we're going to turn 4 years old this year. We have been able to build the first demonstrator within 9 months at the cost of 2 million euro, including the launch. We have built the second demonstrator, Mission Possible, that you have seen, that's going to launch next month within 2 years at the cost of 30 million euros, including the launch. We've been able to secure 800 million euros worth of commercial contracts, and we were able to raise overall, up till the Series B, 225 million euros. We're a team of more than 270 people from all over the world, more than 40 nationalities. We have the headquarters based here in Munich, in Germany. We have a subsidiary in Bordeaux in France, a subsidiary in Torino in Italy, and also in Houston next to the Johnson Space Center in Texas, working very closely with NASA on the certification of our vehicle. So yeah, follow us. We believe that when Europe is ambitious, we can really have a chance to be on the forefront of space. Thank you so much.